people are always like, oh, do you want to try and monetize? You need so many damn followers to get monetization. And I don't want to put that pressure on myself. You know why? Because I did that with journalism already. I just want to have fun with it. You know, if I get to like, let's just say like on TikTok, you have to have 10,000 followers, right? To get monetization. Mm-hmm. If I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. I just want the followers to be, you know, I don't want spam accounts. I don't know if you saw my stories a couple weeks ago where I just told Instagram to delete people because it was a lot of spam accounts that I had, or they just weren't active for like 3 years. And so I lost, 31 followers, but I'm looking at the accounts. I'm like, some of these are spam. Most of them aren't, they're not even on them and they're not active on them. For me, I'm not trying to get a number. I'm trying to get genuine people.
Well, I love the San Gabriel Valley.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast.
So I grew up here and I still live in Alhambra.
I was raised in between Temple City and Alhambra.
Eventually resided in South San Gabriel.
Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley.
Monterey Park has pretty much been my whole life.
Well, I'm proud to say that I was born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley.
We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you are from in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome. All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in and spending this time with us. If you are new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you are a returning listener, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We do appreciate it. Well, if you're watching online, you'll notice again that Scott's not here, maybe the 6th episode in a row. So sorry about that. I'll try to do my best to hold the show for the both of us, but he's gone on business and he'll be back. Well, Victoria's here with us.
Yes, I am here again.
more frequently now than ever before.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of cool. I like it. As we were talking about today's guest, writing came to mind. And, I never spoke to you about writing. Actually, writing is not a big part of, actually, maybe it is part of what you do. But do you consider yourself a writer? Do you enjoy writing?
I do not consider myself a writer. I can enjoy writing, I guess, if I'm in the right state of mind or mood. The most writing I ever did would be during school, doing the essays and stuff. I don't really do it recreationally, but yeah, I'm fine with it.
I appreciate people who write well more now when I'm older. I myself, I don't consider myself a writer. I don't particularly enjoy writing, but I do write the newsletter. Yes. Right? I write the newsletter, and Scott sort of pushed me to do that, and I've sort of enjoyed, sharing a little bit of my own personal stories on the newsletter, and it's kind of scary because you're putting something out there, as is this, right? You're putting something out there for the public or for people to sort of maybe judge, right? And that seems scary, but I think people who put themselves out there in any form of their work, whether it's like art or some sort of like media or writing, I admire the courage to do that because oftentimes you're only going to get criticized by people who are doing less than you. So, so don't listen to the critics because oftentimes they're not going to be doing what you're doing. So before we get to today's guest, thank you to Paris Baguette for sponsoring the treats for this show every week. We do appreciate them. Go check them out in the city of San Gabriel on Las Tunas and say hi to Jason for us. All right, let's get to today's guest. Today's guest is a powerhouse of storytelling and journalistic excellence. Hailing from the Twin Cities and now calling Pasadena home, this award-winning journalist has over 2 decades of experience across print, digital, radio, and television news. She's been featured in major outlets like U.S. News and World Report, Business Insider, and the Chicago Sun-Times, showcasing her versatile and compelling narratives. She's not only earned an Associated Press Award for her radio coverage, but also shared in a National Emmy for her work in television journalism. She's also known for creating content on TikTok and Instagram, where she shares the vibrant lifestyle of Southern California and travel adventures. She enjoys hiking, volunteering, and trying out new restaurants, truly embracing the spirit of the SGV. Join us as we dive into her fascinating journey from the newsroom to digital content creation exploring her passion for connecting with people and telling impactful stories. Please welcome to the show, Kateri Wozny.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
You a powerhouse. Did you write that?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you for calling me a powerhouse. I'm honored.
Yeah. I mean, you are an award-winning writer.
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
And I saw on your site and all these, different awards and whatnot. So, congratulations for all that.
Thank you. Yeah, I got both of those when I was in my 20s. So.
Yeah. So I want to get into your story, and the show is called the My SGV Podcast. What is your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
So I have to go back to how I got here first. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So I grew up in the Minneapolis area. I grew up in a suburb called Maple Grove. My father was a chiropractor and my mother was a stay-at-home mom, and she also did administrative work for my dad's business. And I just had a very basic, simple Midwest upbringing. And
You're from Minnesota.
yes.
But you don't have that.
Oh, the A's and the O's.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't. The city people don't have it as heavy as say as if you go up north.
Okay.
But we do. I have it a little bit. Sometimes if I'm making a TikTok or something, I can hear my A's and my O's come out, and then sometimes people are like, "You have an accent. You're from Minnesota." But yeah, I grew up there, and it was just a very normal upbringing. And I actually started my media career when I was about 9 or 10 years old. So my mother was in a supermarket line, and she was talking to this other mom, and she was like, "Hey, my son does community television called Kid Vision. Do you want to have your daughter join and see if she might be interested in production or hosting?" And I said, sure. So I joined Kid Vision. I learned all these different aspects of camera work and audio and directing, and I just really liked being behind the scenes a lot. At the time, hosting really wasn't my thing. And so from there, it just kind of grew from there. I wrote from my paper in high school. I went to a college called St. Cloud State, which is just north of the Twin Cities. I majored in journalism. That's where I won my Associated Press Award. It was coverage for the Senator Paul Wellstone Memorial. He died in a plane crash in 2002, and I won an Associated Press Award for that through our local radio station. And then after that, I just kind of worked in the Twin Cities for a while. I worked for a traffic information provider. I was a producer for the ABC affiliate, and I also worked at our operations center at the same time. I also worked for a local newspaper, and I was just freelancing for different publications. And then I was working at the ABC affiliate where I was doing the traffic information providing, but they picked me up full time. So I was working as an assignment desk editor. You kind of dispatch the news crews and keep track of what's going on with them, and you follow up on story ideas and get confirmations and just do a lot of research. And that's kind of what you did. And that was that was my first time. My boss said at the time, "Have you ever really worked in a real newsroom?" And I would say that was probably the first time I really did, because I learned how to research better. I made a lot of mistakes, and that's how I learned how to write better, just everything. But I never really wanted to stay in Minnesota. It was never my thing. At the time, it was when I moved in 2010 out to LA, it was the thing to still go to the bigger ones like Chicago or DC or LA or the Bay or New York. Charleston and Austin, places like that weren't really hyped up at the time. And I just always wanted to go to LA. I visited in 2008 with my mom. I had the best time. And then I came out about, what was that? April, May, June, July, about 5 months before I moved. And I stayed with my friend Rose, and he's like, "You just got to move out here." He's like, "This would be good for you." And at the time when I was going to move out here, I was at a heartbroken point in my life because, I gotten laid off from my job. I was in a relationship that was pretty much on and off. And I had just finished up a graphic design certification, which I never really did a lot with. And so I was like, this is the perfect time to move. And I did it. And it was I just needed that fresh start. It's I ran away from my problems just to have a fresh start. And it was the best decision I ever made in my life. Making it in California, I will no goal that I will do in my life will ever top that. Nothing. Especially when you're coming from out of state. Sure. It's a big deal. As far as my connection to the San Gabriel Valley, so I always wanted to come to Pasadena. So I visited it for the first time in 2012, because when I first moved here, I was living in OC. I was living off the 5 in Euclid right by Disneyland. Okay. And I moved here during the recession. Okay. So it was still not that great. And I was working part-time because I transferred my traffic information company. I had gone back to them after I gotten laid off from my full-time job in TV news. And I was just trying to find a full-time job because I didn't want to blow through my savings account. I was like, this is insane. And then I just found, the full-time job on the Central Coast. So then I went to, it was called KEYT. It's in Santa Barbara. It's called News Channel 3 now. And I did web producing. I was on the assignment desk. And, I was...
You did what?
I was on the assignment desk.
What does that mean?
So like I said earlier, when I was working at the ABC affiliate in Minneapolis, the assignment editor, what they do is they dispatch the news crews, they research the stories, they follow up on story ideas. They just basically keep the newsroom organized. And then web producing is where you just kind of like type up the stories and put them online.
I see.
That's what you do. Okay. Got that clarification. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going. So I visited Pasadena for the first time in 2012, and I just fell in love with it. I was just like, this is like, I got that little city vibe, but I got the mountains and the palm trees at the same time. And it was just chill. It was peaceful, picturesque. I saw the Colorado Street Bridge. I saw the Rose Bowl. I'm like, I want to be here, but it wasn't the right time. The timing was not right. And so I ended up staying on the Central Coast for another, I think after that 8-9 years before I moved here. It took a really long time.
Oh, wow.
I was working in I was working at a public relations agency up there. I worked for a beverage brand up there. I did marketing. I ended up working as a government contractor, and then I eventually just came down to Pasadena. So.
When you say Central Coast, you were in Ventura.
Yeah, I was in Ventura County, yeah. The Central Coast is Ventura County, Santa Barbara, and then San Luis Obispo. Slow. So, yeah, I was living in the Channel Islands Harbor, and I was like, it's a dream. Like, you're living, with the seabirds and the water and, the beach is nearby, but the beach can have some problems, too. It was getting kind of weird during COVID. There was, like, there was a dead body found on one of the yachts, like, out back where I was living. And I'm living around, like, $1 million and $2 million homes, right? And there was, like, a shooting across the bridge on the other side. And I'm just like, I think I just want to relocate. And, my job now is remote, so it allowed me to do that, my full-time job. So I was like, I can finally go to Pasadena. So that's how I ended up, in the San Gabriel Valley. Didn't know anyone here, just... Yeah. So
I'm interested in that story and journey of like how you ended up here, and then what, you chose Pasadena.
Yeah.
Right, out of all the places here.
Yeah.
And Pasadena is beautiful. And had you imagined, when you left Minnesota that you would end up in a place like Pasadena in the San Gabriel Valley?
I just never most people when they come to LA want to be on the South Bay or the West Side. That's where they want to go. I don't know. It's like an in your heart kind of thing. I just couldn't click with those areas. With Pasadena, it was just like that. Like I would tell my friends and one of my former mentors, I'm like, I'm gonna move to Pasadena one day. I'm gonna do it, and I did. It was the best decision I ever made. Like I said, the walkability is great. I get, to go hiking in the mountains. I get the palm trees. And because people are always like, why would you leave the beach for that? I'm like, I don't miss it one bit. I don't miss it one bit. So it's just, and especially at my age and this point in my life, that's probably why I can't click with the West Side or the South Bay. Because it's not that it's young, but it's like, I just can't, I can't click with that vibe anymore over there like I did when I first came here. This is more like better pace for me where I live.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so you started your career in media and writing very, very early. And, why have you stuck with it for so long?
It's just something I've always enjoyed. Like I was writing poetry and like just even stories when I was like a child, and it just grew from there. It's funny because I was talking to my mom before I came on this podcast about some stuff, and I'm like, Mom, I think you told me when I was a kid, like I was always trying to entertain people, and my mom's like, Kateri, you don't always have to entertain people, but it just kind of working media just clicked with me. I love just reporting and writing. It just makes me feel alive. It's good side hustle money because I don't do it full time. I just freelance with it now. But the biggest reason why I still do it is because I want the community to take something away from it. I want them to have an impact on what was written. And if they can take something away from it, whether it's good or bad, that's the biggest joy that it brings me.
And but is your writing entertaining, informative? How would you describe your writing?
I do a lot of general assignment reporting. Like I could do like a feature on a business or on a person. I can do like something investigative. I can do like I've done like court case stuff. I've done murders. I've reported on wildfires a lot. I was really well versed on wildfires, especially during the Thomas Fire in 2017. I really got like educated on wildfires really, really fast and how they happen. But I'm just kind of all over the place usually. But what I'm doing now, I just write for Pasadena Weekly as a freelancer. I just do it here and there. I don't do it like full time. It's not my full time job. But I usually like to do more stories now that just are more heartful about the businesses or about people. Just anything that I can think of that just sounds meaningful that I want to do, or what my editor sometimes might say, hey, can you help me with this? And I'll help her with it. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious. So you said your research really increased at some point. Like when you say research, is it like on the pavement, going out, like knocking on doors, talking to people?
Yeah.
Or is it online?
It's both. Like usually there's a lot, I think people don't realize that there's a lot of information they can get online that they just don't know they can get. Like, marriage records or court records, or like, I used to jokingly say I'm a glorified stalker because I would just sit there and research people, even before like dates with guys sometimes. I would look, because you would be amazed at like how many first dates I did not get to, because I found out some criminal stuff. I'm not talking about DUIs or something like that. I'm talking about like criminal theft, all that stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going on a date with you.
Wait, where are you getting these prospects from?
Where would I get them from? No, at the time, it was just like Bumble, Match.com.
Oh, these are dating sites.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, you gotta watch your back. You gotta watch your back. But no, also just,
you plug their name into like some database?
It's usually like, I would get their name, I get their phone number, and I just kind of go from there. It is sometimes a little bit harder when it's like a more common first name and last name. Do you know what I mean? But I usually can figure something out. So,
professional stalker.
Well, I jokingly say that's what journalists are, because in a sense, that's what they do. They stalk a little bit,
Wow.
Even if it's in a loving way, to get the story. Like there's sometimes I would have to call, like I'm on deadline, I'd have to call a source at least two times in a day, maybe 3, just to follow up. But that's the way it is. But we were talking about researching. What was the question again? Yeah. Oh, how else do I get my research done? So if I'm doing a story, sometimes like besides like what, I'll look to see sometimes what was done on them before, if there is any press on them, because I like to see what questions weren't asked. And that's how I try to make myself a little bit more unique. What wasn't asked that I can ask them, or like spin it in a different way. And there's been times I've had to go knock on doors too. Like, okay, want to hear a story?
Sure.
Okay, this is the recent one. So I had a 50-50 shot. So O.J. Simpson dies, right? And I knew that Judge Ito lives in Pasadena. So I called my editor and I said, you know what, I can see if he wants to talk. I've heard rumors that he doesn't talk about it anymore, but it's worth a shot. And so I knew he wasn't going to pick up the phone, because all I could find was his just landline. I'm like, I'm just going to go to his house. So I go to his house and I ring the doorbell, and it's like one of those like Ring cameras. They can see you, but they can talk to you through the intercom. He's like, hello. And I was just like so taken aback. I'm like, hi, sir. Judge, I'm with Pasadena Weekly. We're doing a story about O.J. Simpson. I'm just wondering if you want to comment on it for this, what I'm doing. And he was just like, no. He's like, but thanks for coming by. I'm really impressed that you stopped by my house. So if he's watching, thanks for like talking to me. He's such a nice guy.
Wow. So see that's the courage that I like. You have a lot of courage.
You got to. Do I do it every single time? No, but it's something. Sometimes you just got to take that risk.
We almost had the detective on this show from that. Scott knows him, and I was in contact with him.
I can't think of his name. It's gonna bug me now. Mark Furham.
That doesn't sound familiar.
Okay, I'm way off.
It was the detective. They coaxed OJ out of the house.
Oh, that guy. No, I know what you're talking about when he came back with the Bronco. Oh, I can't think. It's going to drive me nuts now.
He said that they knew he was a psychopath, and that's how like they got him to come out.
Yeah, the guy that was talking to him on the phone. Yeah, it's going to bug me now. Yeah. I'll Google when I leave.
Yeah. So anyway, so back to you. I'm sort of trying to develop in my own mind, like the sort of the things that made you who you are, in your journey.
Yeah.
And I remember when we first talked, you said that you were adopted.
I was.
Yeah. And did you know all along? Like when did they Share that with you.
Oh my gosh, this is so hard. Sometime when I was a child. Now, how I found my birth parents. So,
you found them?
Yeah. At the time, I was 23, and my parents had gone through Catholic Charities, so it wasn't like one of those grueling things you see on TV where I had to go find my parents. I just signed off. I'm like, yeah, I'm just curious about who they are, and I met both of them, and I feel bad because at the time I was kind of scatterbrained when I met them because I was 23. I just got out of college. You're trying to find a job. You're just going all over the place. But, it was a really nice gathering with both of them. And yeah, we still keep in touch here and there. We're not like talking every day, but yeah, we chat when we can.
I see. So you have so much like energy.
I do. Yeah.
You must get that a lot from people who meet you.
I do. I also work out of my house all the time. So when I see people, I'm like, because I'm working out of my house now full time. My full time job, what I'll say on the surface is my company works with a public sector client, and I edit and format documents. That's all I'm going to say.
You edit and format documents.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I told you what I do full time.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, I can't say it on camera though.
So, I work from home.
Yeah.
And when I travel back and forth from Canada.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. What part of Canada?
Manitoba.
Manitoba, east side, right?
Right above North Dakota.
Right above North Dakota. Okay.
Yeah. So, there's a reason why I brought that up. Oh, so when I'm here, I'm working at home and I'm by myself often. So I know how that is. Like sometimes I'll just go to the grocery store, like to just be around people if I've been in the house all day.
Yeah. I mean, I think the other part of it is like, it's sometimes with like doing media work, sometimes it kind of crosses into your personal life just a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I actually just took like a journalism's webinar about it because sometimes it can cross over and you got to try to find that balance again. So I'm used to seeing people. I'm used to being like, hey, I'm just so used to being like energetic and like, on it in a sense, if you want to call it. But
well, I'm very careful not to let that cross. Like I don't want my life out in public.
Yeah. I think it takes a certain person. I understand.
Yeah.
I respect that.
And so you said you started doing social media 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I always had accounts. Like I would post my stories and stuff on it, but I wasn't doing like, I guess, more engaging with it or being more active with it until after I graduated with my master's degree in 2022. That's when I kind of started to like, just like fall into it just a little bit more.
And what's your goal with that?
My goal with that?
Yeah.
I honestly, to have fun, because people are always like, oh, do you want to try and monetize? You need so many damn followers to get monetization. And I don't want to put that pressure on myself. You know why? Because I did that with journalism already. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I just want to have fun with it. If I get to like, let's just say like on TikTok, you have to have 10,000 followers, right? To get monetization. Mm-hmm. If I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. I just want the followers to be, I don't want spam accounts. I don't know if you saw my stories a couple weeks ago where I just told Instagram to delete people because it was a lot of spam accounts that I had, or they just weren't active for like 3 years. And
wow, how do you find that out?
It was a new feature on Insta. They're just like, hey, these followers might be a little sketchy. You might want to take a look at what we found. Wow. It's kind of like, yeah. And I'm just like, that's very interesting. So I lost, 31 followers, but I'm looking at the accounts. I'm like, some of these are spam. Most of them aren't, they're not even on them and they're not active on them. For me, I'm not trying to get a number. I'm trying to get genuine people. So that's what's more important to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so, Now you're writing for Pasadena Weekly. How long have you been doing that?
Oh gosh, I've been with them since. It's really funny because I got a thing on LinkedIn today that popped up and said, hey, it's your 2-year anniversary today. I'm like, isn't this crazy? But the publication company in general, it's Strickbine Publications. I've been with them since, oh my gosh, 2017, 18, when I started with VC Reporter. That's their sister publication. So technically I've been with them for almost like, less than 10 years.
So how does that work? Like you're with the publication company and then they find you are like things to write about, or how does that work?
So I reached out to them, like after, when I was in my master's degree, I had to like stop just writing. First of all, it was COVID, journalism is drying up. It's still kind of like a little, hectic right now in that industry. And I wanted to kind of like revive myself. And I just wrote the editor at Pasadena Weekly. Hi, Christina. And I was just like, hey, I used to freelance for VC Reporter. I'm wondering if you're looking for just freelancers, because they all have budgets too. I didn't know what was going on at the time. And she's like, yeah, I've read your stuff from VC Reporter. I'd love to have you on. Come on back. Usually with freelancing, you have to pitch the editor a story. I mean, sometimes I find the story is just like looking at like Visit Pasadena or old Pasadena, like, oh, this new restaurant was opening, or like, oh, there's this new business that's opening, or oh, I've read about this like person that's like doing something impactful in the community. And that's how I kind of get my ideas. It's not like around the clock, whereas reporters, get assigned stories, or they obviously pitch their own stories too, but they have more, daily kind of thing. I mean, yeah, I would say once in a while, sometimes my editors will like give me stories to write about, but usually with freelancing, you got to think of your own.
And you must love writing.
Yeah, I love reporting. Yeah. I've been doing it for years.
Oh, so is there there's a difference between like writing and reporting on something?
Reporting is like, factual kind of stuff, research, anyone can write, like you can write in a journal, like I journal, or just, write out your thoughts for the day. With reporting and journalism, it's like you gotta, research the source, find information, get facts, and, just records, anything you can. Report the facts, basically.
How much verification on a fact will you get before you report on it as fact?
How much verification will I get? I have to get it confirmed by the source usually.
So what does that look like?
So if I do find something, I'll just ask them a question just to follow up on it, just to get them to confirm it or deny it, and that's basically how it goes.
Have you ever had a story that you got to break?
If it's like a, sorry about that, if it's like a record, like if it's like a county record, like that's fact too. Like it's in print. It's like the written word there. But what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Did you ever get to break a story that was, like you were the one to get this out there first?
Oh my gosh, you're asking me to think about hundreds of stories I've done.
Or that you were excited about, like
it's just, breaking news. It's kind of different because I'm a freelancer and I have a full-time job. Do you know where I'm going with this? Mm-mm. It's like, you don't know where I'm going with this. We'll start this over again. Okay, when you have a full-time job, like you have to focus on that. So if something happens during the day, like I'm not breaking the story, the first one to get it out there, like a hard news kind of story or something like that. I can't do that, but I can answer that in terms of like a feature story. And I don't know why this one is coming into my head right now, but I believe I was probably one of the first ones in Southern California to talk to Charmin, the tissue company, because they were headquartered in Oxnard, because no one was really talking to them at the time. And I was just like, well, if they're like, and tissue paper was a huge thing during COVID. And I was like one of the first ones that I looked online. I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk to them. And, it's stuff like that. But like breaking news is like in the moment kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? That's the clarification.
Did they talk to you, Charmin?
They did. They kept saying, Charmin's on the way. I'm just like, I know it's on the way, girl. I know it's on the way. But yeah, I couldn't find another, like, I usually look at the LA stations first, because I'm like, okay, did they do anything yet? They haven't? Okay, I'm going to take it. So.
And so when you find the idea that you're going to write about, what's your process in actually getting it done?
What's my process? So I have the idea, and then what I do is I usually will reach out to the source, like I'll Google them online, like someone with the city of Pasadena or something like that. And then I'll usually like directly email them, but they also have their own PR department. So you usually got to CC them just so they know what's going on, because a lot of reporters like to take initiative, and then agencies are like, oh, wait, they want to get involved too. And then I just usually list out my questions that I want to ask them. And then obviously as we're chatting, I'm typing it out and recording it at the same time so I don't miss anything. I do both. And, obviously if there's like more follow-up questions or just something more to elaborate on, then we'll talk about that. And then when I'm done, I have all these notes, and I'll start like just puzzling it together. Like I'll type everything out, and then I have to copy and paste and move stuff around, how I want it to flow. And then I, write the headline and send it off to my editor, and she edits it, and then it goes out for for publication.
And how long does that process usually take?
How long does it take? I mean, if my editor said to me today, hey, can I have something within a week? I could get it in before a deadline. I always aim to get in things before a deadline. I've never missed a deadline. And people are always like, because I'm just so used to, working in a field where, you're on deadlines all the time. So I always like to try to get things in early.
So I'm just picking your brain as a writer, because
It's
it's really hard for me to write the newsletter. And I don't sometimes I don't know where to start.
You're doing fine. I've seen it. You're fine.
And I'm like, do you start with an idea and do I just get my facts and start writing it out? And
the biggest thing I try to do, especially with feature stories, it's like you got to have that little hook, that's going to capture the reader's attention. Like when I was it's just like. Here, I'll give you another example. So I interviewed the band director for PCC, so Pasadena City College, and I was interviewing him about the Rose Parade, and we were going through the whole entire interview process. I'm thinking in the back of my head, okay, I just want to get to that hook. What I can open the story with is basically what I'm trying to say. And then he said that he always reads like a little what do you say? Like a little poetry verse, and I can't remember what it was, to start off everything and kick it off. I'm like, and then a light bulb will go off. Like, that's the hook. That's what I'm going to do to open up the story.
And once you put something out there, like it's done, your editor has looked at it and it's ready to go out. Mm-hmm. What are you feeling as it's going out there into the public?
What am I feeling? I would say I'm feeling pretty confident most of the time. I'm excited that the public's going to read it, that they're going to take something away from it. You're probably wondering about mistakes.
No, just if you're is there some sort of looking forward to people's response? Is there any anxiety around that? Like how it's going to be received?
I still get excited when I see my byline. Byline is my name. Okay. And, in print sometimes. I really do. Like, I'm just like, I can't believe I wrote that and people are going to take some. I don't get anxious. I get excited,
And do people come up to you and still say, like, I've read your work on this? And
a lot of people don't know me by my face. That's the nice thing about doing like print or digital, like just writing for stories online or in a paper version, is that you're out there, but you're kind of hidden at the same time. Yeah.
See.
I know it's different with digital stuff, but that's kind of like me putting my face on like an Instagram story, but that's kind of how it is.
I see. And I'm curious, like, what's the etymology of your name?
My name, I was named after a saint. Her name is Kateri Wozny. She was a Mohawk Indian, and she died from a disease when she was 22 years old. So in the summer of 1980, when I was born, so everyone knows my age now, which is awesome, and Pope John Paul II beautified her as a saint. And originally, my mother really liked the name Michaelin. And I think that's a cool name. I was going to end up with a unique name no matter what. And then my grandmother, my dad's mom said to her, there's this really great name, Kateri, Pope John Paul just beautified her. And then that's how I got the name.
Awesome.
That's how I got it.
I really like unique names.
Thank you.
That's why, yeah.
I am the only one in the world with that first name and last name combined.
So share why that is.
Because I can't find another Kateri Wozny out there.
And you've looked?
I've looked.
Are there any other Kateris? Have you found
There are other Kateris. I've met other Kateris, yes.
Oh, well, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I've met them usually on like social media. I'm just like, oh my God, I've had a name too.
Oh.
Because it's a unique name. So you want to bond over it with someone. So.
Sure, yeah. Well, Kateri, we ask each guest to bring an item of significance. What did you bring with you today?
All right. Do I have to hold them up when I do
yeah,
this?
so people can see. So that camera over there.
Oh, that camera over there, where Victoria is. Huh?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is Moosey. So Moosey is my first baby toy that I had. I even have like baby pictures, and I wish I had them because I think they're at my parents' house in Florida, where he's with me. I'm just laying on the back of my crib, and he's been with me just since day one. I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I'm just like, I remember the only like young age, toddler thing I can remember was I was in my crib, and I remember I was looking out the window, but I wanted to get out of my crib like most, toddlers do. And I took him by his hand and I got out. That's as far as I remember. Obviously, I got caught. But yeah, he's just been me since, day one. People think he's a reindeer. We just started calling him Moosey. Just don't know how he got the name. But no, he's been with me since day one. My parents moved to Florida from Minneapolis in, what year was it? 2015. And they're like, we found Moosey. I'm like, send him to me. And he's on my bed. So yeah.
Can you describe it for the listening audience?
He is... I don't even know what he's stuffed with.
Is he a sock?
I think it's a sock. Yeah, he's stuffed with socks, and my mom bought him. I don't remember. See, I thought when I was talking to her on the phone, I'm like, one of my grandmothers made him. She's like, no, Kateri, I bought him. So yeah, he's just stitched together, and
I mean, it looks handmade though.
Filling. Yeah, it's handmade. But yeah, he's stuffed with a sock. I have put him in the dryer just to kind of like freshen him up a little bit. I had to put him in something with like a bounce little, what do you call those things?
Dryer sheet?
Dryer sheets, yeah. To make him smell fresh. But yeah, he's
I see?
my little buddy. Yeah, you can touch him.
Oh, it's a little dense. Like it's not,
yeah, he's
cool. Got some heft to him, yeah.
He's got some heft to him.
I think that is a sock, right? Like this is the heel.
Yeah. I told my mom, I'm like, if I ever pass, I want to be buried with him. She's like, seriously? Seriously? Like, well, I don't know what else. Yeah, I went through my whole entire back of my closet. It's like stacked, and I just could not find anything in the closet. There's other stuff at my parents' house, like I said, but I'm like, this is like the closest significant thing that I have. But yeah, he's my little buddy.
So, part of what I was interested in your perspective was like from an outsider coming into the San Gabriel Valley, maybe not so much from Minnesota.
Yeah.
But maybe like from Ventura, like it's one thing to visit like Ventura, but to live there is very different, right?
Yeah.
So, what is your take on the San Gabriel Valley, like the culture here, not just Pasadena, but just the valley in general here compared to, let's say, like Ventura?
I love the Thai food here. I do. I love it so much.
Where do you like to go?
Oh my gosh, I still like going to like 9 and 9 and then Daisy Mint.
Okay.
So still if you have other ones I should check out, like I definitely want to know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the Asian culture is like really thriving here, and I'm right by the USC Asia Pacific Museum or Pacific Asia Museum. I don't know which way you say it. I really appreciate that kind of art, and just like I don't know if I told you this, but I just went to Rubble Castle like in the past few months. Have you ever heard of it?
I have not.
You have got to go. This guy named Michael Rubble, like back in the 60s, 70s or something like that, built this castle. It's a stone castle. And it's like an historical landmark in Glendora now.
In Glendora?
It's in Glendora. You have to have like one of these people on your show. I'm telling you.
I never heard of it.
Yeah. And like the thing about it is like there's so many different little hidden gems around here like that. And then, just even the trails that I've gone on. Like there's so many different trails I've been on that I've never heard of before. And just like I saw like there was this like, the statue of a lion recently, because there used to be like a lion farm there, and they would like I guess the original
El Monte.
Yeah is El Monte considered San Gabriel Valley?
Yes.
Okay, good, because I just wasn't sure for a second. I'm like, I'm stuck on my guessing myself. Yeah, and I just didn't know that was there, and they used to have like the MGM like lion films there. I'm just like, there's just so many different little hidden things to see.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the Speedway. I mean, I could go on forever.
And do you have like local friends or like people who are, native to the San Gabriel Valley showing you all these places?
I'm a researcher, like I said. I will Google. I do have like a few friends though, but even they're like, I didn't know that existed. Like Rubble Castle, they didn't know, but I will research like crazy. Go ahead.
Do you feel like you're part of the SGV now, or do you still feel like you're sort of a outsider or a transplant?
No, I feel like I am part of the community, especially, even if I just go to like, if I'm shopping or just like sitting at the bar and having a glass of wine or something and just interacting with someone, that makes me feel like I'm part of the community. It's a very tight niche community, in my opinion. Like when I lived in Ventura, it was like, I felt like it was hard because you're like when you're living at the beach, everything's kind of far away, you know what I mean, from everything else. But here it's just like everyone's just very nice. Everyone's just very educated, in my opinion. Everything's just cool. They're very like chill. It's very homebody like, and I write too here. So, I mean, I report too here. So that's a way for me to be integrated with the community as well and get to know them better.
Do you ever go back to Minnesota?
Oh my gosh, I haven't been there in 10 years almost because my parents moved in 2015. Minneapolis, St. Paul is not the same since basically George Floyd, when all that happened at the time. And, one of my girlfriends is actually going to get married. I'm probably going to go back there next year to see her wedding. So it'd be nice to take a week off just to see people. But I've had a couple of my girlfriends say to me, actually, they're like, you're not missing out. Like, it's changed, it doesn't sound like it's in like the best way that it's changed, but it's really hard because I only remember Minnesota as I remember it. But it's like a lot of my favorite restaurants, they're all gone. So, but it'll be interesting to go back in another year and see how it's changed and what's happened.
And have you visited your parents in Florida?
Yes, I saw them for the holidays, and they're good. I'm going to try to go back in August and see them for about a week and a half because I can work remotely. But no, I talk to them like almost every day. They're getting older. They're like 80 and 78. So I'm like, okay, I'm just got to check in on them. Are you doing okay? Everyone's health is okay? Okay, good.
Yeah, I don't think I could live in Florida though. Like I've only been there.
Yeah,
a couple times.
They live in Jacksonville. It's a nice area. It's not for me, but the people are really nice there from what I've come across so far.
The weather is what it was just too intense for me.
Yeah, the humidity can get pretty bad.
Yeah.
My parents are a little bit more inland, so they don't have it as bad. But if you go right by the Atlantic, it's just like,
it's crazy.
Goodbye, hair.
So, do you plan on staying here, like in the San Gabriel Valley?
That is my goal. This is my last stop in Southern California. I don't know what I'm going to do about buying a house. Stay tuned for that in the future. Let's not talk about that. Real estate's crazy. But no, I do love it here. It's just the architecture where I live, the plants, the flowers, the mountains, the walkability, like I mentioned earlier. That's all appealing to me. It's gorgeous. It's safe. There is not one person in like Southern California that will say Pasadena is just horrible. Everyone says Pasadena is so nice. That's the exact sentence. It's so nice. I'm like, I feel it is nice and I'm safe. So
Pasadena has different areas, like very different areas.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've explored some areas of it, but there's less favorable areas of Pasadena that
the north end of I was always told that when I was looking for a place, stay below the 210. Okay. I mean, I've been to Lake in Washington, and you go east on Washington, there's the George and all these other little hip restaurant areas. But yeah, I've driven through the rough areas because you have to see it, when you first move somewhere, know what's bad and what's not good. But I just stay out of those areas. So
yeah. I live in East Pasadena, and even there, it's different, right? So you can say Pasadena, there's Millionaires Row, by by I forget what the theater is there, but and then there's the Paseo, and then there's East Pasadena, North Pasadena. So Pasadena has all these different, huge different pockets.
Yeah, I feel like once you leave downtown Pasadena, you go east, it's kind of more. It's not sketchy. It's just more it looks like that.
It's more sketchy. You can say sketchy.
Well, it's got that
where you live in this sketchy part, Russell.
I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's got that that vintage look to it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, Colorado there was Route 66, right? There's some of those signs up there still. But yeah, that Colorado Boulevard there, what was really sketchy. Even there was prostitution regularly. That's visible on Colorado Boulevard.
That's terrible.
There was a lot more crime, and it's really different now. But I remember there was a time, and even some guests were like, "Oh, their parents didn't allow them to go to Old Pasadena because of how bad it was."
Yeah. I heard from other people that lived here way before I did. Obviously, it was used to be so bad. I'm like, really? And now it's just thriving and.
Yeah, we had Terry Tornick, who was the former mayor on Pasadena, on the show, and he was instrumental in revitalizing that whole area. And it was a battle between those who wanted to change a lot and those who wanted to preserve it. So, but I think they did a great job. It's bustling.
Oh yeah.
But it still has the old charm of
yes, and that's what I love about it so much.
Have you explored outside of Pasadena in the SGV to...
Yeah, like I said, I've been to Glendora. I went to Rebels Castle. I've been to San Dimas. I go to Frank Bonelli Park. I've been over to Irwindale, to the Speedway. Want me to keep going? I've been to Altadena. I saw like the Altadena milk stand. I've been to all the coffee shops. I've been to La Canada Flintridge. I like to go there sometimes to Trader Joe's because Ralph's is right across the street. It's like a one-stop shop almost. And just saw some restaurants there. So yeah, I've seen other parts.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested, like, because even people who live there their whole life, they don't go see all those things.
Yeah, I do. I think it's important. I cannot stress this enough to people. When you move to a new place, explore your community or just like region. It's so important so that you're just like, understand the culture better and, little hidden spots, and then you can tell other people about it.
So do you consider yourself like a writer? Like when you meet people, is that how you would introduce yourself as?
No, I say I'm a journalist.
A journalist.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And are you going to continue in this line of work?
So I will always, like I said before, I'll always have a full-time job, like outside of what I'm doing right now, because I like having the stability. I know things can happen with full-time jobs, but stable. I like having the benefits. I will always freelance in journalism somehow until the day I die. Mm-hmm. So it's a great way to keep up my reporting skills, to keep my mind sharp at the same time. And, just like I said, to embrace and chat with the community a little bit more and tell their stories.
What is the skill of a reporter?
Well, you need to know like the Associated Press style book. There's like a certain way, like senator would be like SEN period. Like that's an example of something. You need to know that. I still have to look at it sometimes to look at verify things. You need to have an outgoing personality. You need to have good communication skills, whether that's writing or verbal, and you need to have good research skills. And you can't be afraid to take risks, like going to knock on Judge Ito's door. Yeah. Like you can't be afraid to take risks. That's the kind of person it takes to do this industry.
Do you ever get turned away from like somewhere where you want to speak to them about something and they're like, oh no, I don't want to.
Oh yeah, it's happened many times, and then I just go to Plan B. This is the thing with journalists, plan A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You have to. Like sometimes I say like I'm a little bit pessimistic about it because I'm like, well, if this doesn't happen, falls through, then I'm gonna go to here. It's kind of like I gotta like expect the best but prepare myself for the worst at the same time.
Certainly, you're very unique though. Like not all journalists are like you. You have this like you're.
Because I know you've had others on your show.
Yeah, and I'm trying to like.
Oh, cool! I want to know what's different about me.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the combination of things, right? It's like you're very upbeat, very quick also on, like you said, like you're already going to these different, on A, B, C, D type of thing.
I think that part I learned when I went into television news, because working in television news versus like a newspaper, it's almost like a completely different ball game behind the scenes, because it's very, you know what I mean? Like it's moving fast all the time. You got to think very quick. You got to be sharp, like really fast.
Television news. So like you're
CBS,
getting the story and then you're telling it, but you're not writing it.
No. This was when I was behind the scenes, like working as a web producer, like as an assignment editor. Or sometimes I would step in if the producer was out and just do something, because everything is live and everything is like up to the minute.
Oh, so you're writing for others to read? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. When I would work in TV news, when I'm behind the scenes, I was behind the scenes.
And so someone who's in front of the camera is just reading your stuff?
Yeah, it's they read a teleprompter and they read stuff.
You're writing that?
No, I'm not writing it as it's going, but you know what I mean. But even like that was just once in a while. But even when you're on the assignment desk, like things can pop up at the last minute. There's, like when I was in Minneapolis, the National Emmy I was talking about, our newsroom, won, the 35W Bridge collapsed. It was like that. And we were on the air. I mean, that's what I mean by shoot. You better stop what you're doing, get on the phone, and then your head's spinning and you're going in 50 million directions trying to get more information or sources to go live on the air.
It seems like that you thrive in that kind of environment, though.
I do thrive in it, but there's also a level of peace that I like to have. At the end of the day, I do appreciate the stress, and that's one of the reasons why I left it full time. I can only handle it in spurts now.
I see.
I'm talking to you because it's like different. I'm excited thinking about it, but to go back and actually do it full time, I would rather just freelance. So
And so what sort of things do you like to do to step away from that and relax?
The chaotic life that I've had?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I like to just, I love hiking. As you've seen, I've really embraced a lot of different trails in the San Gabriel Valley. I just even like to just phone a friend. I'll write. Like just journal. Because remember, I was telling you there's a difference between writing and reporting. I know.
So you'll just journal to relax.
Yeah, sometimes I'll even journal to relax. I'll listen to a podcast. I like to meditate, just even take a bath. I'm very simple. That's basically what I do to relax. Take a walk, just even a brisk walk around my neighborhood.
Interesting. I'm curious about your writing, your journaling. It's something that I wish I could do, and I want to ask you about that. But let's take a quick break. And
all
we'll
right,
be right
let's
back.
take a break.
Yeah.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my God!
Their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
Initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with Kateri. At what point in your life or your journey does that come in?
Does it come in for the struggle? Okay, so when I first came to California, and I was just so hungry for so much opportunity again with media, just anything I could grab. I was just, there was a point for a good 8, maybe 9 years, I didn't have control over my life because I was just afraid if I said no, then the person would ghost me or they just wouldn't talk to me again. So I was just saying yes to everything. I mean, if it was legit, because I was, to work, freelance stuff on top of my full-time job. And I just was afraid to say no because, I was, like I said, I was just afraid they would forget about me. So I was just I would also hang out with my friends, but looking back, I wish I would have hung out with them a little bit more at the time because I was just so caught up with work all the time. It's you're making all this money, you're saving money, and then you're you're going here, you're going there. And I don't remember really feeling burnt out during that time, but I just remember I was on such a high adrenaline rush that I just didn't know how to put the brakes on. And I didn't really realize how crazy I was going until after I graduated with my master's degree, how crazy it was because I was working full time. I was writing for 6 publications and then, I pour wine. I've talked about that on my stories. Should I tell them about that? I pour wine or different beverages on the side at Total Wines or Ralph's or something. And I was working 12 to 15 events a month. It was crazy, the pace I was going at. And now today I just have one publication, which is just Pasadena Weekly, and I'm fine with that. And just with the events, I'd usually do about maybe 5 to 7 a month, which is way less than half than what I was doing before. And, it was just a very crazy time. And I really had to learn to set boundaries for myself, for my own mental well-being and just learn to rest more and be at peace because I was never really resting enough. And now I've just slowly, it's better than what it was. I've just, learned to do that a lot better as I've gotten older. So
it seems like it would be difficult to have a social life with so much.
Well, I mean, I was hanging out with my friends. There was a time, my girlfriends Anna and Rosie, they were you're always so busy. That's why we haven't asked you to hang out. And I remember crying. I'm can you guys just shake me once in a while? Hey, we miss you. Because I was getting so caught up with all the stuff that was coming to me, or I was pitching out editors, or they would reach out to me, and it was just I need someone to shake me, you know what I mean? Just be hey, come back down to earth. We miss you. We want to see you. So I'd see them, but I wish I would have done just a little bit more. So,
do you find that you're doing well at finding that work?
It's a lot better
balance?
Because I feel comfortable just writing for one publication on the side with my full-time job. It is what it is. 40 hours a week. And then, just doing the events here and there, it's a lot better pace for me than what it was. When I think about taking on more, back in the day, I'd be excited to do more. And now it's just I feel stressed out inside. So that's how I kind of knew this is what my boundaries are.
Did you experience any physical challenges during that?
No, I like with my body or anything. No, it was crazy because I also knew to just sleep 8 to 10 hours a night, despite all that, because I still have to sleep 8 to 10 hours a night because that's how I have so much energy to like come on the show and all that stuff. I'm just like, I need to have this much sleep so I can just function throughout the day. Because if I don't, I'm just dragging.
I'm curious and envious also about 8 to 10 hours. Like that would be a real challenge for me. Even if I had the time, it would be a challenge. And at one point I was like, well, I was sleeping 8 hours, but not feeling refreshed. And I can sleep 5 or 6, but feel refreshed. But
yeah, my cousin's like that too. Yeah.
So you always feel refreshed after you
8 to 10. Yeah, I gotta get 8 to 10. I think it depends on the person. And even when I was a kid, my mom's like, you slept a lot, at night. So when I was a baby, so I need that in order to function.
Yeah.
The next day.
Well, you definitely have a ton of energy.
I know. That's because I had a little coffee and I got 8 to 10 hours of sleep before I came here.
Okay. So I drink coffee too, but I gotta try to get more restful sleep, I would say. Yeah. You said that you had some coffee before the show.
I did. That's why I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just kind of peppy. Like I said, I work out of my house, so I haven't seen people all day today. You're the first person I've seen today.
Yeah. That's okay. We had somebody who was on some other substance on the show.
What?
Yeah. We didn't air it though, but
ooh, that's not good.
Yeah. It was very bizarre. Like this conversation is fine. That conversation, like I'd ask a question, it would go like to 12 different topics other than like what I had asked. And I was trying to like follow it the whole time and it was just really bizarre.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm dying to hear about the story later. Okay.
Well, when we come back from the show, we like to ask questions from this deck of cards called Icebreakers. And they're just a fun way for the audience to get to know all of us a little bit better. So
yes. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay.
Here we go. What's the best thing about the opposite gender?
The best thing about the opposite gender? Oh my gosh. I would say when their thoughtfulness.
Their thoughtfulness.
I would say when they're being thoughtful and just like thinking outside the box and doing something to like think about your needs, basically. Because our needs have to be met on both ends.
Sure. Yeah. Victoria?
I think, so I have 2 younger brothers, so that's kind of like who I mostly think of when it comes to the opposite gender. So it's like, I guess, like their playfulness. Yeah, I think it's a different kind of playfulness that I think males have compared to females. And sometimes it's very nice to be interact with that.
Yeah. Yeah, like that loving, teasing, playful thing. Yeah, I feel you. I know what you're saying.
I'm going to say, like, being able to create life and all that goes around nurturing it. Like, I think like that's just amazing. And like, I'm a father now, and seeing like my wife's body transform and create this life, I'm like, wow, and just her ability to go through that, I think it's just incredible. Yeah. So if you're watching online, let us know what's the best thing about the opposite gender. So
cool.
Kateri, back to you.
Oh, right. Back to me again.
Yeah. So you write, you journal just to sort of relax.
Yeah.
Right? And are you just chronicling your day?
So I'm going to clarify. Those journals that ask you a question? Like one question a day, like prompts.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
Oh, that's cheating, though.
It's not cheating because it allows me to like think in different ways that I wouldn't if I was just randomly writing. And I just kind of like go off of that.
And are you handwriting or are you typing?
No, I'm handwriting.
You're handwriting.
For that one, I'm handwriting it.
And is that just like your personal thoughts? No one's ever gonna.
Those are my personal thoughts that I kind of reflect on later.
Huh.
And I try to read my handwriting. It's not great.
And how long have you been doing that?
I really started getting into it more about 3 years ago. It started with this one book called One Question a Day. It's so amazing. It asks you one question a day. But then I found another one that's like hundreds and hundreds of pages that asks you one question with like a huge blank space. And then I'll just write front and back on it and just how I'm feeling for that day or just my overall thoughts.
And you do this every day?
Yeah, every day.
Wow.
I told you I started writing when I was a child, so I would write poetry and all this other little stories, and yeah, it's just very natural.
Now you're creating content.
I create content, yes.
Yeah, and so what's that like?
What's it like? Well, I learned, especially with TikToks, that I really enjoy shooting, with an iPhone. I don't have a fancy camera or any lighting or anything like that. I might get into that in the future, but I'm not really sure. But I'm just really enjoying that. I really started I love getting shots. Like, I'm one of those people where it's like, oh my gosh, this will make a great TikTok. I'm going to shoot it really fast. I've become one of those people. But I also just started getting into like doing more voiceovers on them, because I really wasn't doing that before, because obviously I was just writing the whole entire time, reporting. And I just had to learn how to get really better with that. And then I realized, like, I'm talking with you, I'm like all peppy, but then I'm like, okay, if I'm going to get this and have it hit at that exact moment, with each shot, I got to slow myself down a little bit and just stay a little bit more peppy but calm. So I had to find like my soft spot and my warm area about how to make that balanced out with my voice. So
I'm wondering if your personality comes through in your writing.
Does it come through in my writing?
Like,
I would say yes and no. I mean, I'm trying to report the facts and then have my own style come out.
Like, do people like meet you after having read your stuff and like, oh?
No. Because a lot of people, again, because when I'm writing, or reporting, I should say, I'm behind the scenes. So a lot of people wouldn't just know who I am. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's really funny because when I was a kid, because my mom was like, you don't have to entertain everyone. I always wanted to be famous somehow, but I wanted to be kind of hidden at the same time. And that's how it kind of like evolved into that. Now I don't really care about that. I just care that the community takes something away from it. So. And
like the type of content that you do, I know it's so much work, and like when you're out there trying to like just enjoy something to capture it all, it's like it's additional work.
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah. It's a lot. I think you saw the one I just did about Dancing for the Devil, the Shekinah Church one. Yeah. That one's gone. Like I finally that's my second viral video that went viral that fast. But usually sometimes they're just hanging around like the hundreds, It's just like, okay, whatever. But I knew that one would blow up because it was timely. But yeah, you go out and you start shooting, and I'm just thinking, okay, I got to do this really fast because there's controversy around this right now. I don't want someone stopping me, getting me, whatever. And, then you do the voiceover, and then I have to find the documentation about the church. And it's a lot of work. But for me, it's very fun. It's gratifying. And again, I keep saying this over and over, but if someone just takes something away from it, whether it's good or bad, that's like the most meaningful thing to me. So.
Yeah. And one of the things that caught my eye about your social media was you going out into the mountains and the hikes here.
Yes. I am not. Yeah, I just got into hiking last fall, and my mom, like, she got me dog tags. She's like, "What if a bear gets you or something?" And I'm not even concerned about that. I'm just like, I don't want to see a snake. I don't want to see a rattlesnake. But yeah, I have to go on hikes that I can only do easy to moderately challenging, like they say on all trails. If it says hard, I won't. I know my stamina, I won't even try. But I have to have a goal towards the end of it, like a waterfall, a teepee, a rock in the shape of something. I have to have something, and I'll film like crazy. It's funny because when I'm looking at the raw footage and I'm putting it together, I'm just like, I'll be like, how much further do I have to go? And I'm laughing at myself looking back on it, and then I put nice music on it, like everything was fine and nothing happened. But yeah, I love hiking so much. But now that it's summertime, and I understand that it can get cooler, in the morning, I'm not sure I want to just hike too much like I was doing right now. I might wait till it gets a little bit colder again because I do better. I don't do well in heat. Like just even 75 will make me be like, it's just I just have a very big heat intolerance. I know I'm living in the wrong state, but yeah. But yeah, I know what my comfort level is, but I definitely want to start hiking a lot more. Like once we get into like the winter, like spring seasons again.
Yeah.
Because I've done, I think, like 40 trails now.
40.
Mm-hmm. Easy to moderate.
But you're not interested in like Baldy or Gorgonio.
I have a new hiking buddy. She loves hiking peaks. And she's like, let's get you on a peak. I'm like, I don't like going up the hill. I don't like climbing uphill. I just don't like it. I know you burn calories. It's a good workout, but I'm just like really, really bad. Like I'm stopping every 20 like steps. I'm not making this up. Like that's what I mean. My stamina is just, even with all the hikes I've done, I still cannot get to that level where it's like I can just go up a hill like a badass, and I just can't. I can't do it for some reason. So I just know what my comfort level is. But
yeah.
If it's a waterfall, I'm just like, I'm in love. I'm like, take me to the water.
You know what? I hope they open up soon. Is I think it's called Fish Canyon.
I have never heard of that one. I'm gonna write that down right now.
It's a three-step waterfall. So there's like,
It's a 3-step. Here, I'm gonna put that down on my trails. See, I have a list of trails. Okay, Fish Canyon. What I'd love to try to do is the Bridge to Nowhere. I've never done that one yet. I think that one would be a good summer one because you're walking in the water, so you're kind of cooled down anyway because you're crossing so many times.
Sort of.
So see, I don't know. I'm just talking because I've never done it.
So Bridge to Nowhere is out and back.
Yeah.
5 miles one way, and majority is flat, but also the majority is exposed, totally exposed.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So, I mean, there are river crossings, like you'll probably cross a dozen or so, but it's pretty hot.
It is. Okay.
It's very hot.
Okay, I'll wait till it gets cooler. Thanks for telling me that.
Yeah, I mean, because of the distance, even if you start like at 6 a.m., because it's 5 miles out and coming back, you're going to be coming back in the heat.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. Yep. That's a no-no. That's a no-no.
The heat is okay though.
It's okay. Even though I've been here for 14 years now, I still like in Southern California. I still like bundling up in a sweater from time to time. I really do. That's why I jokingly say I'm living in the wrong state. So.
Well, you came from a place where there's like minus 40.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's like, I always travel because I love to take vacations. I always go somewhere in the fall. I miss the fall foliage so much. And even like if there was snow, but only if it's like a dusting. You know what I mean? Like
not
that
like
much.
4 foot on the ground.
No, not like 4 foot on the ground. No.
Well, before we move on to the SGV3, like, what is your impression of the ethnic demographics here? Like, I grew up here, right? I went to a school that was like so mixed, and that was the norm for me. And I didn't think anything of it. And then when I left, I was in the military. I lived in Kentucky, Maryland, and I met people who had never seen a white person in their life.
Really?
Or that was exactly my reaction too. Black people who had never met a white person in their life. Of course, they've seen them on TV, but they lived in these small towns where they never saw it. And for sure, they never saw an Asian person. Like, and I was like, wow, I can't believe that, like coming from where I lived. And so when I came back, I really appreciated like the diversity here, right?
Yeah. That's the biggest thing I like about Southern California is there's so much culture, because in Minneapolis there is a big Somalian culture back home, but I didn't get like that mix of everything like I do out here. And that's great, because I think it's always good to embrace different cultures, because you're learning about different, art, food, and anything, and that just makes you kind of more of a well-rounded person, in my opinion.
Sure. And you mentioned Thai food, but have you explored all the different foods that the SGV has?
I've had Thai. I've had, what do you call it, dim sum.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I had you're going to make fun of me when I say this. I think it was called, I was in, what was it, Alhambra or Monterey Park, where it was called Mama Lou's or something like that.
Mama Lou's,
I think that's what it was. I don't remember. I remember they have, maybe that wasn't it. They have the dumplings. I went to this place across the street, trying to get to the point here. I remember the fish had the little eyes on it still. I was cooking on it. I'm just rotating it like a rotisserie chicken. And I was just like, this is just so interesting. I've never done this in my life.
Was it a hot pot place?
Oh my gosh, it was.
Were you cooking this stuff yourself?
Yeah, that too. I mean, it wasn't like going to Korean barbecue. I was just like, this guy has little beady eyes on it, And I'm just like, this is very interesting. So stuff like that, and then the dumplings, and then I don't know. That's all I've really had so far.
No Vietnamese?
I don't think I've had that out here yet. No. Wow. I've had ramen.
Okay. Japanese. Mexican?
Yes, of course. Of course. Like El Cholo is literally like right next door if I wanted to do that. And then I've been to Mijares.
Uh-huh.
I saw you had them on your show.
Yeah.
I love them.
Oh no, we didn't have them. Someone mentioned them though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Taco trucks?
I like taco trucks, but I just can't think of a specific brand off the top of my head.
Okay.
I love, because that's like street food, and it's like so good.
Yeah.
It's just like so homemade and good.
And have you been to the 626 night market?
Oh, the one over in Arcadia.
Yeah.
I still have to do that. That's still something I haven't done.
That's not my jam, but because it's so packed.
Oh, I bet
It's
with all
so
that different
packed.
food.
Yeah.
Is it like smorgasbord on crack?
I feel like at one point I could have jumped up and I would have gotten stuck.
Oh, wow.
Walking through like the food area.
Oh, wow. It's
Yeah.
that packed. Jeez.
I mean, I've only went once, and that's why I was like, I'm never gonna go back there again because I don't like crowds. I don't like the big crowds.
I don't either, but you know what? I'm still going to try it out because, it's always good to try things at least one time.
Yeah,
So.
sure. Well, Kateri, we're going to move on to the final segment of the show where we get to learn what you like in the San Gabriel Valley. So, Kateri, this is what we call the SGV3, and we get to learn what 3 of your favorite or most memorable places or experiences in the San Gabriel Valley.
Okay.
So, what would be number 1?
Okay. I have 3 categories, but I have 2 in each. Is that okay or is that cheating?
Oh,
Or is that cheating? Because if you want, I'll just narrow it down to one.
if you already asked the question, I'm laughing because
I'm overly prepared. I know.
No, I always tease people because like you have to try to get in like SGV4 or whatever. But you're the first to say I have 3 categories and 2 in each one. So you're first to try to get in 6.
All right. I feel honored. Okay, so my first. Okay, now I can't stop thinking about that and laughing. My first category is favorite hikes.
Okay. Awesome.
So I have two of them. I still love my waterfall hikes. I love Brown Mountain Dam. Have you done that one?
No.
So it's like 8.5 miles, like out and back. Like that one's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And you cut through JPL and then you just go through the I remember the name of the trail. Gabrielle. How do you say it? Gabrielino Trail. I can never say it right. And then my second one is Millard Canyon Falls.
Okay.
That one's a shorter one.
Sure.
More boulder and creek crossing, but I love those waterfalls. Those are my favorite ones.
Yeah.
And then my second category is just places where I just go and just relax and find peace. It might take a little walk, but just relax and just take in the sun or just read a book or just something like that. So that would be Frank Bonelli Park. So Pudding Stone Lake. And then my second one would probably be around the Colorado Strait Bridge, the Rose Bowl area.
Okay.
Just, be in the grass and just relax. Have a little picnic. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then my third is my favorite places to go just unwind and eat. They are wine bars because I am a sucker for wine bars. So I love Wheat Olive in Old Pasadena.
Okay.
And then there's one called the Saltner in Monrovia.
Saltner.
The Saltner, yeah. And I love that one because she introduced me to this really cool, the owner introduced me to this really cool sparkling Syrah there. And the food is great. The chef makes everything from scratch. But yeah, those are my favorite ones.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that.
You're welcome.
I'll have some hikes to share with you after the show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, well, Kateri, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story with us.
Thank you for having me.
If people want to get in touch with you, or read some of your work, what's the best way to do that?
So you can go to my website, kateriwozny.com, if you want to see like my portfolio of news clips that I've ever written, or if you want to see any of my blog posts, because I do have a blog as well. It talks about the Southern California lifestyle or when I travel outside of the state. I also have my TikTok and Instagram reels on that site as well. And you can click on the link and it'll take you directly there as well.
Awesome.
To the TikTok. You want me to give them my handles?
Sure.
Okay, so I am on Instagram at KitKatWozny, and then I am on TikTok at Kit. Oh my God, what is it? I can never remember off the top of my head. There we go. On TikTok, I am at KitKatW0706.
What's the meaning behind that?
July 6th.
Oh,
that's my birthday.
Okay.
Gonna be 44 soon.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you so
much. We appreciate it. Yeah. So there you go. Another episode in the books. I think this is one of our first guests who is a transplant from out of state to the San Gabriel Valley. So it was interesting to see her perspective on the San Gabriel Valley. But also, I think this is one of few journalists and writers that we've had on the show. And it's interesting to be able to learn what it takes to do that. And, I think I didn't know before that how much research is involved in doing that. And it's probably maybe the majority of your work when you're working on a piece.
Oh, God, yeah. It's so important.
Yeah. So I enjoyed this. I learned a lot, and I hope that you did as well. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing and don't forget to like and share. And if you want to support the show in a more meaningful way, please consider becoming a patron. Check us out on Patreon, MySGB Podcast. And if you want to see the full back catalog of episodes, check out our website, mysgb.net. And until next week, we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us on the MySGV Podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Scott Wormuth, directed by Russell Mano, edited by Victoria Allers, and original music by Yone OG. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice mother. No kind of mother.